in the book, you'll read that there's 6 signs in Rehumanize Your Business. We identified 6 signs that you need personal videos, and then 10 different, occasions of where video, what we call video beats text. And the 6 signs are: if you teach, train, sell, or serve, it's all one right there. You drive opportunities to face-to-face meetings. 2. 3, you want to improve customer experience, which you just eloquently described, James. 4, you risk disintermediation by web apps, tools, and automations. If that human experience is important to your business, video can be a huge valuable asset to you. 5, if you benefit from word of mouth, James is creating an experience when people work with him, and those are the type of experiences that people talk about. And 6 is simply this: if you were in front of more people more often, would you do more business?
Hi, I'm James Taylor, business creativity and innovation keynote speaker, and this is The Creative Life, a show dedicated to you, the creative. If you're looking for motivation, inspiration, and advice while at home, at work, or on your daily commute, then this show is for you. Each episode brings you a successful creative, whether that's an author, musician, entrepreneur, performer, designer, or thought leader. They'll share with you their journey, their successes, their failures, their creative process, and much, much more. You'll find show notes for this episode, as well as free training on creativity, over at jamestaylor.me. Enjoy this episode. Hey there, it's James Taylor, and I'm delighted to have on the show Stephen Pacinelli, a passionate storyteller by nature who measures his success by helping people reach their potential. Steve Pacinelli serves as the Chief Marketing Officer of BombBomb. He is also the co-author of Rehumanize Your Business: How Personal Videos Accelerate Sales and Improve Customer Experience. And it's my great pleasure to have Steve with us today. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you, James. I'm excited to be on the show today.
Share with us all what's happening in your world at the moment.
Oh, it's been pretty busy and exciting. At the same time, I'm of course with BombBomb, and the movement of personal video has been growing exponentially over the past couple of years, and I've been a big proponent of it even before I came onto the BombBomb team, sending personal videos myself as a BombBomb customer. And it's really, in the past year, it's really started taking off in multiple industries with all different sizes of companies and different people using it and finding unique ways on how they can get face-to-face with more people more often using simple video.
So take us back, because I know BombBomb. I always think of BombBomb. I think you, and I think of Ethan as well.
Yeah.
And I remember first seeing it and think, this is I love this. This is absolutely fantastic. And then trying to actually explain it to someone, like what it was, and then think, you know what? I'm just gonna film one and send you it, because it's much easier. I find it easier to explain to actually send them one to explain. So, like, first of all, let's explain about like, how did you get into this working with BombBomb, and then kind of explain what BombBomb is for those people that don't know, and then let's talk about the kind of wider trend, which is really around personal videos.
Right. Yeah. So great. Well, I got into BombBomb by trying to solve numerous problems I had in my business. I had a small sales and marketing team. We were about 8 or 9 people, depending on the year, and worked for a tech. And we had a 48 city tour where I would go from city to city. I would speak on stage and train people how to use technology in their businesses. And then it was an edu sales component. So of course, some of the items that we were training people on, we would have products that they could buy in the back of the room. And the tour worked great. We were responsible, depending on the year, to generate between $6 and $8 million in new revenue on the tour, which, as that number crept up year after year after year, we had to figure out creative ways of not just selling to the people in those 48 cities, but the problem I had was, how do I fix this downtime problem? How do I generate more leads, not just in the individual cities? And the second problem I had was, how can I close more sales after we were in the city with the people that we met? Because if we didn't close them that day during the technology training seminar event, it was hard for us to close them afterwards. And that's when I stumbled upon like the strategy of personal video back in 2011. And so I had my sales team. We were generating Facebook leads at the time, and we weren't converting any of those leads. And of course, I blame the system, like, oh, Facebook leads, they don't work. They don't work. And then we're like, well, let's see if we could do something different. And we started following up with these Facebook leads when we weren't traveling from city to city to city, and we were sending them. Initially, we sent them marketing videos about the products that we were selling, and these products had an ACV of $30,000, an annual contract value of $30,000, or 25 or 40, depending on what it was. And we were sending them marketing videos on our products and like, look what this can help you do. It can generate leads and you'll make more money and this, that, and the other. And it was a from the mind approach. And we still weren't converting any of those leads. But it wasn't until we started not using video to market ourselves, but using video to make personal connections, that we started converting these online Facebook leads. And we started converting deals with people that we've never talked to over the phone, and that has they've just seen us and heard us over video, and we built rapport and connection with them. And that's how I got into using personal video, following up with live event leads, and we started converting more of those, and then converting cold leads and upselling people that we've already sold to and getting that attention. And so for 4 years, I was a BombBomb customer and a personal video advocate, and I honed my craft and how our team used it and made plenty of mistakes. And I guess we can talk about all the mistakes and some of the things that worked too.
And I was introduced to it by another speaker friend from the States. And as I started looking, I didn't realize that actually there's an increasing number of professional speakers that use it now, because it's a perfect tool for speakers, because that way we don't have to sit and write things. We can communicate on the way that we often like to communicate best. But then I actually looked at it and I saw some of the other industries or other areas that used it. And obviously you've got a lot of realtors that use this idea of personal videos, kind of sales people, but like pastors, I know, were using these kind of personal videos, and you could see how it was getting used in kind of different ways. So one of the things when I first was telling someone about it, they were saying to me, but surely that kind of thing can't work well. You need to protect your brand. You need to have a certain look, and all your videos need to be super highly polished and, like look perfect. You have to be really conscious of the videos that you're putting out into the world. So what do you what's your kind of response when you hear, like in terms of the quality? Because sometimes these personal videos, they're not in terms of the content is really personal and it's quality there, but often the way I do them, I'm filming them from airport lounges and places sometimes.
Yeah, James, I love that you asked that question. It's like you're a professional podcast host with hundreds of episodes. It's amazing. But it was such a good question, and that's what most people think. Like, we got to protect our brand. This is the way we should display ourselves, and that is 100% true when you are marketing to a large audience or group of people. And so if you're going to put videos on the homepage of your website, if you go to the BombBomb homepage of the website, we don't have a simple video with someone holding out their cell phone, saying how great our product is that's poorly produced. We do not have that. If you go to any of the other pages on the website, we don't have that there either, because those types of videos need to have a polish. They need to represent your brand, as you mentioned. But the style of video where it's actually a detriment, the polish and the pizzazz and the high-end digital SLR camera and that green screen background that you want to use for a personal one-to-one video is a detriment. There's a shiny authenticity inversion. The shinier that something is, the less authentic it feels. And so if I generated a new lead for my business, or I wanted to reach out to a past client that I think might benefit from a new upgrade or a product that we have, sending them that mass-produced video and making them feel like a number, one, doesn't make you stand out, because they know that mass-produced video is going to everyone else, and it's not a pattern disrupt in their day, so chances are they'll miss your message. But two, by creating a personalized experience that feels off the cuff, that feels more that it's coming from the heart and not from the mind, that's how you're going to stand out. People buy from other people. They don't buy from companies, they buy from individuals. And by not sending that mass-produced piece, when you're sending a one-to-one video, you want it to be raw, you want it to be organic, you want to connect. The purpose of that video is to connect with the person on the other end. And reading scripts and pitching your product is not what you would do if you were connecting with someone on a train or a bus or at a conference. You wouldn't walk up to someone at a conference and just immediately go into your pitch of your new product and your pitch voice with a bunch of people around you holding up product screens. You would walk up to a person and you would speak to them as a human being. And that is the style of video that is so effective. And you don't need to worry about your brand as much because it's a replacement for a conversation. It's not a replacement for a marketing pitch.
Yeah. And one, obviously, the reason that these personal videos and things like BombBomb are becoming more used is email open rates just going down and down and down, because we're being flooded with emails all the time. They kind of standard, and I think everyone is getting very good at recognizing those emails as they come in. Oh, that's just a mass email. I'm not even going to open that. And there's different ways that you can see this. But these personal, we should probably explain, obviously there's different ways of doing these types of personal videos. And but we should explain like what the experience is of the recipient, I guess, because then I think when you sometimes you mention these personal videos, like, oh yeah, I can see that, but isn't that a lot of work and like, but what does it look like? So you're probably the best person on the planet to explain what that BombBomb experience looks like from the recipient's standpoint.
Yeah, and if we could just backtrack on something that you mentioned there, and then get to like what it looks like, I think it would be beneficial, because I loved what you said. It's true. Emails, engagement with emails, it's harder and harder because marketers came in and messed up the platform and just started sending out a bunch of mailers and spam and pitches and everything else. And so the average person, if you look it up, and depending on who you believe, the average person makes 35,000 decisions every single day. And 99% of those decisions you make autonomously, like the way you just moved your finger, the way you tilted your head, you just blinked your eyes, like all of these little movements that you make, all your thoughts and everything that you do is a decision, but most of it happens automatically. And when someone checks their email on a daily basis, they have a set of heuristics that they go by. And when they go into their email account, they immediately start sifting through automatically, because they're used to doing this, on what's personal and what's marketing. And they know that only a small percentage are personal one-to-one, is a personal one-to-one communication with them. And so they go through and they swipe most emails off to oblivion. And if it has any stench of a marketing piece, that gets relegated to tier 2 or into the trash can, right? And so to stand out, like you were saying, and to get attention is the currency of sales. If you don't have attention, you're not going to have any sales. So to get that attention, you need that pattern disrupt. And that's where BombBomb does help. And personal video in general, not even just BombBomb. We'll go over both here, where personal video does help no matter how you want to execute on your strategy. And so in terms of getting your email opened, video is not going to help you necessarily too much there. It still comes down to 3 things. It's the subject line, the first sentence or pre-header of your email, and the sender. Those are the only 3 pieces of criteria that determine whether or not your email is going to get open. Now, you can allude to the video inside, which might help, and that's great. But if you did get someone to open your email, now here's where you really have a chance to break that pattern, to show them that this isn't a mass-generated marketing piece. I am following up with my client because my client is important to me. I'm following up this lead and I'm doing something different. I'm standing out because I'm humanizing myself, and I'm showing you that this is a personal video just for you. Now, if you don't have something like BombBomb and you record a video for someone, one, you want to have a fast way to record that video. 2, you need a place to host that video, which you can host it in YouTube if you want. 3, you do have to go through the manual process then of taking the link and putting it into an email, but that's not going to help you get that attention, right? Like, so you probably want to do a screen grab of that video, put it into the email, and then hyperlink that off. Still, you're sending people over to YouTube, so you're removing them from your call to action, which is also bad, but that is a process of doing it. But if you're doing something like BombBomb, you hit the record button in your Gmail app or in your Outlook or on your mobile phone or wherever. You record your video, it pops it into the email, and it creates an animated preview. So the video is automatically playing in someone's email inbox. So if you want to generate attention from a cold prospect or a warm prospect, you send them a video and you convey in that animated preview, so the video is already playing the first couple seconds, that video was created for them by writing something on a whiteboard, writing their name on a whiteboard, saying, after this podcast, I'm going to follow up you, James, and I'm going to say, thank you, James, on a whiteboard. And you're going to see that video is just for you because your name is handwritten on that whiteboard. And that's how you get attention. But you can use other strategies too, like, and I don't know if you want to get into this, James, but screen recording functionality. If you have a program that can record your screen, and there's a lot out there that can do that, but of course BombBomb does it too. You can start on someone's web page. You can start on their LinkedIn profile. If you need to generate attention, be interested in them. And when that person gets that video in their email inbox and they see that it's their LinkedIn profile, it's their website, it's their piece, you're going to get attention.
That's and the thing also to convey to people who haven't seen this tool as well is, from the sender's standpoint, the open rates and the click-through rates of these things are just off the charts. And the thing we use them in these BombBombs, these personal videos, in different ways. We obviously use the BombBomb kind of platform to do it, just because I find it's the easiest, and I just want something that I can use when I'm traveling or when I'm backstage or something. And the way we use them is we do use them for cold outreach, like some of the ones you were just kind of talking about there. We actually use them a lot after I've had a call with a client. Let's say they're asking me about speaking at their event, and I know that decision is going to be made by maybe a committee, or they have to take up to their CEO or vice president. So what I'll do is I'll always film a little video after our conversation. Hey, Sue, great speaking with you today. Here's what we discussed. Here's the 3 things why I would be a great speaker to speak at your event. And I see that video get passed around. I can see the stats of it getting passed around other people in the committee as they forward that to other people. Oh, this is the speaker I just spoke about. Look at this great little video they sent. So good. And then the other one we use, and I say this, anyone that's listening just now that has any type of continuity program or membership site or subscription site, is on the onboarding process. And I remember hearing this from being at an event with some of the folks from Ancestry.com. And Ancestry.com are based up in, I think the Utah, I think, Salt Lake City, that's right. And one of the things that they tested, so this is where you kind of go and find your genealogy of your history, your family. And they did this little test where they said, okay, as soon as someone registers on our service, we want to have someone call them within the first 30 seconds. And we want to ask them, what is the one thing you want to try and find? And then they actually found a way of really kind of streamlining that process as well. But what they noticed is that outreach very quickly after the sale has been made, massively increased the lifetime value of the customer as well. So every time someone signs up for one of my Speakers U programs, one of my programs, it's a membership-based program, I get the little notification and I film a very quick little bomb welcoming them, saying, this is where you want to go. I'm really looking forward to working with you. And it definitely has an impact upon lifetime value of those customers. So those are just a couple of ways that we use. I mean, what are some of the ways that you see other types of businesses and companies using these kind of personal videos?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love that you follow up. I mean, that's humanizing your business and your company. The first example that you said there was also great. I'll expand upon that one a bit and then get into some more. Because you said you send that video out and you see that video being passed around. Anyone listening here today that generates business through buying groups, if you have a key stakeholder that you've been speaking with, trying to sell your product and or your services, if that really it's the buying group that's involved and that key stakeholder needs to influence other people, that same concept that James you just described, to be able to pitch in your own words or connect in your own words or describe the value and the benefit in your own words rather than leaving it to the key stakeholder by saying it in a video, and then having them pass that around, and then getting the analytics so you know if they watch the video. And I don't know if you've seen, James, but we have the new emails that come out that show the exact percentage of the video that's been watched after someone views it and watches it. You can turn that on in your system
cool.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a great use case. And so basically anyone, in the book, you'll read that there's 6 signs in Rehumanize Your Business. We identified 6 signs that you need personal videos, and then 10 different, occasions of where video, what we call video beats text. And the 6 signs are: if you teach, train, sell, or serve, it's all one right there. You drive opportunities to face-to-face meetings. 2. 3, you want to improve customer experience, which you just eloquently described, James. 4, you risk disintermediation by web apps, tools, and automations. If that human experience is important to your business, video can be a huge valuable asset to you. 5, if you benefit from word of mouth, James is creating an experience when people work with him, and those are the type of experiences that people talk about. And 6 is simply this: if you were in front of more people more often, would you do more business? And if the answer is yes, and if you could get in front of people more often, you would do more business. That answer is yes, then you could benefit. So those are the 6 signs, but the 10 opportunities are, and really there's 11. After you write a book, you always think about like that.
That's the bonus chapter, the online bonus chapter.
Yeah, exactly. Darn it, we should have put that in there. But we talked about cold leads and cold prospecting. Great for that. It's going to increase the percentage. Unresponsive leads. So after you've been in touch with someone and you need to reawaken that relationship, it's easy to say no to text on the screen. When you send someone a video and you have a smiling face and a personal message on a whiteboard, it is so much harder because of the law of reciprocity. Robert Cialdini talks about where you gave someone your time, and when you're giving someone your time, they feel the need to respond. So that's a great opportunity. Great to meet you, which is, I think, what you just described. Someone signs up for your course. And then you congratulate them and you say thanks for joining us. 4, project or process update. This one you have to be careful about though, James, because if it is dry and it's just like, hey, you need to do these 3 things, then text wins out every single time. But if there's any emotion involved in the project or process update, like it's a large sale, there's emotion involved when it happens, then it's better to do it through video. Holidays, special occasions, reaching out to people in times and moments that matter to them, like even as something as simple as their birthday. And when you send someone a personal video for 15 seconds instead of a happy birthday on Facebook, you'll get replies and responses, which is pretty amazing. Bad news and apologies. And maybe we'll end on this one. I'll give you a quick story. Bad news is more psychologically compelling. And this is everyone's going to encounter a time in their business where they have to deliver bad news to a client or to an employee, or someone that's related to their business. And it's been scientifically proven that bad news is more psychologically compelling than good news. And what that means is we need more time to really understand and to interpret the news that has been delivered to us. And a wonderful strategy, if you want to make your bad news conversations over the phone or in person go better, then you plant the seed with a video. And here's an example. I'll give you a real estate example because I know a bunch of people doing it here. If someone needs to have a price reduction on their home, not the best conversation, but you plant that seed, you send a video and you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I just wanted to let you know that we listed your home here. We received X amount of showings, and I think we might want to try a price reduction because of this reason, that reason, and the next reason. And you deliver that message with empathy, and you allow them to interpret the message and think about what you were saying. And at the end of your video, you're going to say, I have some time later on this afternoon. I would love to chat about it over the phone or in person. Let me know. And when you do talk to them over the phone, because they weren't required to give an immediate answer on whether or not they want that price reduction, then because that's what would happen if you call them on the phone, say we want a price reduction. They're required to think immediately. They're either going to sit there in silence, or they're going to go off the handle and say, you're not doing your job. You'll find that is less likely to happen in any scenario. To give someone a time to think about your articulate solution, why you're saying it, and then let that sink in and have the real conversation 2 hours later.
And Steve, I've got terrible news for you. I may have a 12th use case.
Hit me. What is it? What is it?
Sending cat and dog updates to your to the cat or dog owner whose cat or dog you're looking after. So we were in California recently, and I ended up staying at a friend's house. This friend was out of town at a conference, and she asked us, "Oh, could you stay at the house for the week, and please look after, if you can look after the two dogs, these two little dogs." So as soon as we landed and we arrived there, the first thing I did is I take out my iPhone and I film a little video with the dogs saying, "Hey, we've arrived. Just let you know we're safe and well." And she sent that to so many people. She forwarded that or the conference she was going. I think it was a little bit of publicity for you at this particular conference, because I think she was showing it to every conference attendee. "Hey, my dogs are well." So,
my God.
Having said that, one of the ones I know that I think about this a lot, and I've been thinking about this recently, is the cold outreach piece.
Yeah.
Because this is the bit that, as it by its term, is cold. It feels kind of cold. And I think video, there's a warmth that you can express with video, which is it's very hard to express by email or other types of, unless you meet someone in person. Can you give it any examples of how you've seen this done particularly well when, let's say, a company or an individual, they have someone that they really want to reach out to for the first time. This person doesn't know them from Adam or Eve. Yep. But they want to use personal video to be able to make that connection. And then also, I'm interested to know what was the call to action, or what should a call to action be for something as like that very first call to outreach, but using video?
Yeah. So great, two great questions. And I'll start with the call to action one. We'll kind of go backwards. A lot of people, they want to leap the Grand Canyon. They want to do cold outreach and have it turn into a sale immediately. And if you think about where your prospect is, where they currently are, not where you want them to be, then you'll make sure your call to action isn't quite the sign up for a demo right now, or, something that, unless you're selling a product that's $10 a month, which probably doesn't deserve, personal video outreach, I would say. But if you're selling a high dollar product or a high dollar service, you don't want to try to leap that Grand Canyon, and you want to have a transitional, it would be a transitional CTA, not your full call to action of buy this right now or sign up for this product. And so, some of the best cold outreach strategies, and I'll give you one that we used in the book. On the back of the book, the first endorsement on the back of the book is from Daniel Pink. Now, Ethan and I, we love Daniel Pink, but Daniel Pink had no idea who Ethan and I were. No clue. We never talked to him before in our life, but we got him to write the endorsement on the book. So this was a cold outreach. How did we do that? Well, we sent him a video, and on the whiteboard in the video, we wrote 2 quotes from his book that happen to align with our thoughts and our theories about humanizing business. And so, a couple of elements going on here. One, when he received the video and he read his own quotes on the whiteboard, he knew that this was a personalized video just for him. He got to see our faces right out of the gate. And when he hit play, of course, he heard our voices. So we're building rapport, we're building trust in a way that black text on a white screen could never do. People make a decision on whether or not someone's trustworthy in less than 1 second. 1 second, they make that decision. And that's an autonomous decision. And if you're not giving them that opportunity by doing cold outbounding with just text, black text on a white screen, they're never making that decision. So they'll never believe your message, because they need to believe the messenger before they believe the message. And so by creating something so personal like that and reaching out and saying, "Hey, we wrote a book. We would love for you to read it. We believe in a lot of the same things. Would you do it?" And of course he said yes, from a cold outreach. So the lesson there is be personal. If you are outbounding a company or a person, I should say, within a company, take a couple seconds to look them up. Our outbounding and our ABM campaigns, when we sell BombBomb, we look them up on LinkedIn quickly. We grab some details, and we show genuine interest. Or what I do personally is I listen to the content that they create. If they were on a podcast, if they did write an article or a blog post that was great and it helped you and you believe in it, start your cold outbounding with them. People always want to start their cold outbounding strategy with themselves, not with the recipient. And so the tip is to really connect with that person, connect with them on something that they did, be genuine about that connection, and then transition into your transitional CTA, not your full ask.
That's great. So great advice there as well. And actually, I know in writing this book, in writing Rehumanize Your Business, you kind of went through your kind of own kind of little creative journey on it as well. Because the book that ended up coming out that had the reviews by Daniel Pink and a lot of these kind of great best-selling authors is not the book you thought you were going to write. So before we start to finish, I'd love to know what that little creative journey was with yourself and how things changed over that, because I know we have a lot of authors or would-be authors listening to the show, and they're always interested in every author we bring on, that journey in writing that book.
Yeah. So another great question. And the creative process started with my buddy, Ethan, our chief evangelist, where he was writing a book by himself. And I'll give you his start and then how we creatively, got together to make it something that we feel is even better. And the premise of that book was the crazy story of BombBomb and how BombBomb got started, and the process and the ups and the downs, and a kind of like a biography of the company almost. And he was writing and putting down thoughts and concepts about BombBomb. And we began I was super jazzed about the book, and we began talking about it. And what started happening is, as he was like bouncing ideas, and I wasn't a part of the project then, but we talk a lot, and he was bouncing ideas off of me. We came to the realization that if he wrote a book about BombBomb, it's almost self-serving, right? It's like there were a lot of great lessons in the book on how to overcome adversity and things like that. But would someone be seeking out a book about BombBomb? And the answer was no. And in changing our mindset into what people would be seeking out, and that is less about BombBomb and more about video in general, that's where the book began to take shape. And that's where we began working together. And wait a second, let's not make this book about the growth of a company. Let's make this book about the growth of a movement, of a new category, of a new way to interact and speak to someone else digitally, and why it's important, and how the pendulum has swung way too far into automation land, and how we want to rehumanize business. And there's so much emphasis on humanization of companies these days, and making things personal, and the pendulum has swung, and we're like, this is something that would be better for the reader. And so throughout that creative process, we're like, okay, now we have something, and an idea and a topic that would be better for the recipient, something that people would be looking for, because that is a hot topic here. And video in general is a hot topic, and a new way to push this movement forward, because no one has ever written a book about it. And it's funny that we wrote a book about video.
Because you could have created a course, but the book is still, I mean, in terms of value for money, of the amount of content you can put and ideas you can share in a book, and how easy it is for people to then recommend a book, is much stronger that way than video. You can have to use the right tool for the right job.
And it goes hand in hand. And the value of the book is for quick and easy reference. The value of the video is to be fully immersed, and learn and feel, because that's the power of seeing people in video. And that's why we wanted to, and part of that creative process is, do we really do the book or do we do the course? And we ended up doing both, because when you get the book, you also get the online companion website, which has all the videos for you to be immersed in the videos and the people. But when you want to look up the best method to get attention, or you want to look up ways to get your video played, you don't want to scrub through hours of video content to find it. You know that you can go to page 87 because it's in the chapter list, and figure out exactly what you want and do it within 10 seconds. And that's the difference. You're right. Right tool for the right job.
Now, one of the questions I ask all my guests, and this is maybe an unfair question to you, because I ask all my guests, is there an online resource, tool, or mobile app that you love? So let's assume BombBomb is one of those. So we're going to have a link to BombBomb anyway, people can check that out. But what would the other tool be that you don't think you could live without now?
So this is a newer one for me, but it's taken over my life, and it made it to that coveted 4 spots on the bottom of your iPhone. Where
that's powerful property there.
Yeah. So it's called Productive, and it is a habit tracking app. And, I read the book, The Slight Edge, which is a fantastic book. It's been around for a while now. But, just the little things, the little habits, the decisions that are easy to say yes and no to is what makes a person, what makes a company, et cetera. And so in believing in the slight edge and the small decisions that you make every day and the consistency in your decisions and how they compound, this Productive app allows you to put in things that you wouldn't add to your calendar to do, but are things that you want to make sure that you do every day because it's going to lead to great things. So for example, I have a list of habits, and I'll read off some of them. And Productive will send me a notification and remind me if I haven't done it yet to do these things. So I have read instead of TV, and you can develop how many times a week or a month or even a year that you want to do things, or daily. And so I like to make sure that at night, sometimes my wife and I watch an hour of TV at night, watch one of our Netflix shows, but we also throughout the week, we want to make sure that we're not doing that every single night. And so I want to replace that. I have date night built into the Habit app to make sure I'm just conscious that that the weeks don't get away from you. And I want to make sure I go out on a date with my wife on a consistent basis. This was a big one. And this one changed me, James. And this was read for 15 minutes a day on top of the other reading one. And what I found when I started doing this and reading 15 minutes a day, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 365 days a year. It's every single day. By doing that every day, I crushed through 5 books already this year in January, and I never read that fast before, because just by starting it, you want to keep going. And by doing it every day, you want to keep going. So I didn't just read for 15 minutes. I read for a lot more because of the reminder to do it on a daily basis. And it's just awesome. It's my favorite app. I run my day by this app. I have 13 habits in there right now that I make sure I do daily. And I think it improves my life.
Fantastic. We'll put the link to that Productive app here on the show notes as well. And what about an album? What would one album that you would love, maybe on a desert island disc, and also one book that perhaps you've recommended more than any other over the past 12 months?
Okay. So artist for sure is Gregory Alan Isakov, which is my favorite artist of all time. His music is mellow. It allows space for you to think and feel. It's got a little bit of a folky vibe to it. Absolutely amazing. And maybe the album is Evening Machine. There's so many good albums. I don't even know if I can pick one of his albums. But Gregory Alan Isakov. And then for the book, I'm going to go with my most recently read book, which I think makes it my top 3 books of all time. And that is Stillness is the Key by Ryan Holiday. That book changed the way I thought about life.
Wow. I haven't actually, I know I've read a lot of Ryan's books, but I haven't read that one yet. So I'm going to have to go and check that out. We'll put that on the show notes. Stillness is the Key by Ryan Holiday as well. And a final question for you, Steve. Let's imagine you woke up tomorrow morning and you have to start from scratch. So you have all the tools, all the knowledge you've acquired over the years, but no one knows you, you know no one. What would you do? How would you restart things?
It's funny. I would use the strategies talked about in the book, and for 5 of those 7 days, I would go be by myself and generate peace and space to think.
Beautiful. Lovely. Well, Steve, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Where's the best place for people to go and learn about Rehumanize Your Business, the book, and also to learn about BombBomb?
BombBomb.com is the best place to visit, learn about BombBomb and what we can do and how we can get you in front of more people more often. If you want to learn more about the book, that would be BombBomb.com/book, or you can just go to Amazon. You can go to Audible. We have the audio version of the book, and you can learn more about it there as well.
Well, Stephen Pacinelli, thank you so much for coming on today, sharing about your creative life. You and Ethan and the team there have created a phenomenal tool. It's one of the tools I love. It's not quite made it to that bottom 4, but it's pretty close to the bottom on my phone as well that I use well. So thanks so much for coming on and share about your creative life.
Thank you, James. I loved being on the show. Thank you.
If you're interested in living a more creative life, then I'd love to invite you to join me as I share some of the most successful strategies and techniques that high-performing creatives use. I put them all together in a free downloadable ebook that you can get by going to jamestaylor.me. That's jamestaylor.me to get your free downloadable ebook on creativity.